Okay, I'll call the December 21st meeting of the Wolfeboro Police Commission to order at this time. I invite everyone to stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Minutes from November 16th, I'll entertain a motion to approve as written or amended.
Make a motion to accept it as written.
Okay, motion
Second.
made. And a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Captain, if you'd like to proceed with the monthly reports, please.
I will get right into it. Today. Hold on.
I have faith in you.
We were so hopeful.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, and it's
And there we go.
There we go.
That's my screen.
So we'll start. Incident cases year to date for the month of November. So we had 48 incidents for the month of November, so there was a no change in October, from October, which was 48. Haven't seen that in a while, to have the exact same. But we had 60 offenses for the same month up there. Just a little change there. I think it says October, it's supposed to be November. As you'll see the offenses in the next page, it shows it all in there, and all the offenses by officer broken down for you guys. So that's all that. So the arrest year to date, let's see if this works. There we go. For 2023, for November, we have a decrease of 48.28% from the month of October. November has 15 arrests. October had 29, so a little decrease there. As you'll see the next page, it shows all the arrests broken down by the officer and everything that's in there with the offenses, suspect, all that good stuff. Any questions you have with that, let me know. Next page, I guess the keyboard's not working. Traffic stops. So in November, we had an increase of 14.17% to 145 from October of 127. 4 tickets were given up, which is a 2.76% chance of getting a ticket. So a lot of good education out there on the roadway. So, and you'll see where the streets are, mostly, and where the citation came from. As that was down in North Main Street. And we have Center Street, Bright Museum, Center Street, Governor Wentworth Highway 109 East, and that's broken down for you all that. Collisions year to date. November, we had an increase of 36.36% to 15 in the month of November from October having 11, as you can see each month going down there. The summer was the biggest month with 26. So 15, that's above average if you're going to look at that for the...
Were any of those snow related?
I don't think we even had any snow.
Didn't have it till
Nah. I mean, we really haven't had any snow. I mean, some ice here and there, and I know some telephones have been taken out, but that was only one day on the South Main end that somebody hit some ice. So we really haven't had any bad weather. So that's pretty good. So I'll get right into the SRO report, starting with Mary.
Okay.
November was the 3rd month for SRO Gabrielli, with 17 days of school. She responded to incidents in the Kingswood High School and assisted SRO La Rochelle in the middle school. SRO Gabrielli wrote 8 reports, 2 of which were arrests, and several numerous subpoenas for court in December regarding juvenile delinquency petitions. So on the Kingswood campus, she started with assisting a patrol investigating a theft of a golf cart that was parked at the Kingswood campus. When used to vandalize the Kingswood's golf course, several students with their parents present were interviewed. Several hours of surveillance was watched and documented, and the suspects were identified. The investigation was completed by patrol. SRO Gabrielli took 1 report from the middle school regarding a student in possession of tobacco vapes. The student received school discipline, and the items were seized and later destroyed. She assisted the administrative staff with students who had a knife on their person and had cut their wrists. She obtained the knife, and the student left with the parent to have a mental health evaluation, which would go down to Huggins Hospital. She assisted a student with being harassed for their race. The student and the parent did not want any further action, just wanted documentation for that. She gave a hand summons to appear in court for a student in possession of tobacco vape pens. The student also received student discipline. She gave a hand summons to appear in court for a student who was operating a motor vehicle without owner's consent and had never held a license. She participated in meetings regarding the Kingswood Next Step team. The mission of the Kingswood Next Step team is to provide intervention and support for identifying the risk students to increase overall positive behaviors and academic success. That's a monthly meetings. Outside jurisdiction reports, SRO Gabrielli took a report of sexual assault that occurred in multiple jurisdictions to include Wolfeboro. The departments in which the assault had taken place out of Wolfeboro were notified and the investigation is ongoing. She took a report of another sexual assault that occurred in another jurisdiction. The department in which the assault was taken place was notified and is being investigated. She took a report from a student who had been seen a student from another high school out of jurisdiction posting that they had a gun and that they were not afraid to use it in a Snapchat. SRO Gabrielli informed the police department where the student resided, and the SRO was already aware of it and under control. So it's amazing how many things come into the school, but might not be related actually of school grounds or any kids inside there. So Eric LaRochelle, SRO Corporal LaRochelle's monthly report for the middle school. November was the third month of the school for the SRO LaRochelle with 17 days of school. This month included school closures for parent-teacher conference, a Thanksgiving holiday. He responded to several incidents in the middle school and assisted SRO Gabrielli with several incidents in the high school. So they go back and forth with each other. He took a report from concerned mothers about her child being afraid while the father's in custody, while in father's custody due to specific events. He notified DCYF and sent a police report to the town where the father resides. He worked with the New Hampshire Juvenile Probation Parole regarding referral process with an ongoing case. He responded to a minor motor vehicle accident involving a high school staff member and a middle school staff member, which was on campus. SRO LaRochelle assisted Kingswood staff with locating a transferred student. The student moved to another town and had not enrolled in the new school. A month of schooling had been missed. The student's parents were located and the school was able to make contact with them to continue the process. And he took a report regarding a high school student getting into a fight in one of the boys' bathrooms. Both students received school discipline. He encountered an anxious student in the hallways, learned that he was nervous to go into the room with different class of students to get his belongings. SRO LaRochelle spoke with the student at length and went over various strategies. In the end, the student acquired his belongings without needing someone to get them for him. He continues to make efforts and eat lunch with 7th and 8th graders students to build relations, answer questions, and encourage dialogue between certain cliques of students that don't typically interact with each other, which is amazing. He's third month there, and he's figuring this out, so he's getting in there, as well as attending students drop off and talk to encouraging students throughout the day. And you'll see his list of stuff in there. And we'll get into, which you can see how many cases they had. Mary had 7 incidents, and Eric had 4 incidents last week, totaling 11 for the month of November. And you just see the breakdown of what they had in the school. I'll get into the detective report for the month of November. In the month of November, Detective Emerson investigated 6 new cases. He worked on purging the evidence room and firearm storage closet to make transition easier when the time comes for the new facility. So when the time comes, when we get into phase 2 of the new facility, that evidence room is in phase 2. Basically, it bumps into the garage, our Sally Port, well, the old Sally Port. So we have to actually take everything out of there. We're getting a pod that's going to be outside, and everything goes in there. So it's going to be a process when that comes up. Because everything's good. It's really data, the data entry. It's going to take a while. Detective Emerson assisted the Attorney General's office with information of victim from a sexual assault case that Detective Emerson had worked in 2022. So he had 1 sexual assault, 1 DV simple assault, 2 fraud, 1 theft, 1 DCYF child neglect. And then you can see for the month of November, the percentage of the entire caseload being closed and arrested is 72%. So you can see that on there. So next one is the personal analysis report. So you see everybody for the month of November. As you see, we had 48 incidents, as you saw before. It's broken down with each officer. Just remember, depending on their shift, they're going to have more cases. Midnights, days, nights, and so that's what they got for the month of November. And then I broke it down for the year, right there, till the end of November. Right now we're looking at 599 incidents and 273 arrests. Big thing that I always look at is the assist on both the arrest and the incidents that we need 2 officers for each of those cases. Citations 2157 and accidents 149 so far this year. And the parking tickets are right there, 131 for the summer. Compared to, so that's, was that last year? So that's last year. Yep. Oh, did I hit it too far? Yeah, so this is this year. So we have 582, 242. 1922 citations, accidents this year, 153, which we're ahead. That's a number you really don't want to be ahead of the game. And 278 parking tickets for this year, which is a lot more than what I just said for last year.
The 257% increase, just saying.
Come on. So, then we'll get into that. First I'll do the review of the budget so far, and then we'll get into what was requested by the budget committee. So the review of the budget, so this is on week 40, week 50. No, it's 48. I did week 52. Hold on, first page.
Well, if you don't have a winning mark, I know you said it was good.
Yeah, we're in good shape, so, I mean, I got week 50 right here, I just did that this week, so it's gonna be a little different than what you guys have on your screen. So at week 50, the police department's looking pretty really good. We're 3.56 underspent, which comes to $76,206.79. The dispatch is 0.174 underspent at $935.57. Animal control, that hasn't changed much with all the cases we had this year. But total for this year, we're at 94.46. We should be at 96.15, so we're 1.69 underspent, which is $45,716.26. So, and that's with meeting with the town manager, and they took $9,000 from the gasoline line, and they took $2,000 from the dispatch professional development line, and that was for the money that they had to recoup, and why we have a budget freeze right now. So if you added all that up, we'd be sitting at $56,716 and $26. I mean 26 cents. So we're sitting pretty good for this year. With a budget freeze too, we really can't spend anything. So if we want to get into this, so this is the request from the budget committee. They took from the bottom line was $25,000. We had to kind of figure that out, where we were going to take that from. So my proposal is to take from the 140 line, the police line, which is the overtime line. So we'll take $12,000 from that line. So that will take it from $154,720 down to $142,720. Like they said, we are creative, but we got to be really creative next year on how we do the scheduling. Other compensation, we'll take $1,000 away from that, and that was a recommendation from Sherry. Payroll taxes, Casey helped me with that, because we don't have that in our line. I don't know where that comes out of, but it shows $220. That was $189. The pension, which is retirement, $4,068 will come out of that due to the fact of taking $12,000 from the overtime line. Safety equipment, we're going to take out $2,000. Outside service, we'll take out $1,500. Gasoline, we'll take out $4,000. And the general operating supplies is $243, which comes up to the $25,000. So, I mean, it's a good amount of money, I'll tell you that much. So we just got to keep an eye on it like we always do and be tight going into
Is that
next
going to
year.
affect our operational effectiveness? moving forward?
I think we'll be pretty good. We just got to, like I said, just got to be careful and creative, a little bit more creative than we have been with time off and stuff like that, moving people around. So I did put that out to the staff because I want to get everybody their vacation. They deserve their vacations and time away. So, but schedules might move. We normally try not to move too many people based on their schedule, but this year, due to the fact of getting cut to $25,000 and then the other money that was cut in the beginning part, it's a good amount of money going into next year. When we had a tight budget going
To
in.
begin with, you can't come in with a bare bones budget as requested and then take a hit like we have and expect great things to happen, but we'll get through it.
We will.
Yeah, so if you're okay with that, I'll go with, meet with Casey. She's already got the lines and everything, and I'll say the okay is good
Cool.
for tomorrow. Do you want to vote?
Take a vote.
Yeah.
I'll entertain a motion to accept the numbers as presented by Captain Levy, lines to be affected by the $25,000 cut to our operating budget.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 That is it? All I do?
Okay. Thanks,
Steve,
Steve.
you got some items for us?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon. We met a week and a half ago, so I don't have as many items as I may normally talk about in this setting, but under the heading of personnel, Officer Frank McGee graduated from the academy the day after the last meeting we had here on November 17, and he's currently in his 5th week of training, field training, and I think we get a real quality young officer here. He's doing really well in his field training. So we certainly wish him the best, and we look forward to that day when he can be out there on his own. Bunch of meetings. I sent this to you folks. I don't know if you had a chance to read it or not. I won't go into every single one, but it was
Thank
a
you.
busy month. Yeah. And the one we went to yesterday was the Wolfeboro Community TV Board of Directors meeting. That was kind of interesting. And we're pretty appreciative of the efforts they do to help us get the word out, so we thank everyone for that. Mary DeVries was there, and we talked about our initiative this past summer with the seasonal parking limits. One of the interesting factors in that, there was a 20% increase in ridership on the motor vessel Mount Washington because people who wanted to go on the boat had a place to park off-site and weren't subject to getting a parking ticket. So that was good news, I thought.
So those people that like took the trolley maybe from Kingswood or somewhere?
Yeah, from Kingswood, or I guess some people parked down by Linda's Flowers by the Oddfellows. So I think that worked really well. And as I said, there was a 257% increase in enforcement over and above the 2 or 3 days that we do as an educational effort. So again, I think that was a win-win for everybody. Under training for the month, all sworn officers completed the annual mandatory 4-hour use of force training on December 9th. And there's a lot of training sessions. This one was really good, and it was done. One of the outstanding things about it was done by members of our own department. And Senior Dispatcher Craig Garland, he did CPR, familiarization, obstructed airways, wound management, tourniquets, AED use, and obstructed airways on both children and adults. Corporal Joe Shanks did a taser familiarization, and Officer Frank McGee decided to ride the lightning. As another rite of passage. So, good for him. Captain Livy, Sergeant Bullia, Corporal La Rochelle, SRO Gabrielli, gave a talk on incident command, and the captain did an exceptional job on his presentation, which was about 45 minutes or so. In fact, there was a round of applause when he got through with that. So, well done, Captain. In this period, Corporals La Rochelle and Shanks completed first-line supervisor training. Sergeant Bullia conducted annual firearms quals for Investigator Warren. They did that in the storm, the day it was raining. And I said, why? But it was the only day they could get together. So I know they succeeded. Under assistance rendered, we provided traffic and crowd control, the annual Santa Parade and tree lighting ceremony. I did that for 12 years, and that's really a fun event. And there's always people in good moods and lighthearted, and the kids are all excited. One thing I noticed was it gets larger and larger every year. It's become a go-to thing on that weekend right after Thanksgiving. And in addition to the duty crew we had on that day, the captain and I and Investigator Warren participated, and there were even more people there than I remembered in the past. So it's a popular event, and we're glad that Santa was safely brought through town and up to the shack there. We assisted fire rescue with traffic control and rerouting during the slate replacement on the roof of Town Hall. That was an interesting thing. I didn't get to go down and watch, but I like both my feet on the ground, and I give people credit to go up to those heights to do things. And it went pretty smoothly. I think they were done in an hour or so, Captain. Under matters of interest, submissions for the annual town report are due on January 12th. And just throw that out to you folks. 4 officers passed mandatory physical agility testing in this reporting period. That's every 3 years, Cap?
Every 3 years.
3 years, yeah. And you did too.
I was a little early.
We assisted the Ospey PD this week in that horrible incident up there. And I just want to let you know that our personnel are there. They're one of the first responders to come out under mutual aid pack.
I was just going to ask you if that's a automatic response mutual aid in that area?
Not necessarily. That I believe Ospey made the call through the sheriff's department.
Yep.
So Officer Dustin was there.
Yep.
Awful thing. A quick mention of the storm this past week. If anybody wants to see a busy place, I'm sure Steve, you could attest to it too in your job, but
we were beyond crazy, but yeah.
Yeah, our dispatch area is really, really busy. And I got to give a tip of the old fedora again to Public Works and electric light crews who, I call them the rapid response unit. They did a really fine job. I bumped into some people today that down in Point Breeze area, they were out for a day and a half. Springfield Point got hit pretty hard. In fact, during the storm, I was going around to see if there were any troubled areas. I could only get partially down the road. But I saw some folks down there who are also very grateful for the services that this town provides. So thank you everyone who participated in that. And thank you to our dispatch personnel for fielding all those calls. We'll probably do in January, at least typically I used to do a year-end thing. But I just want to mention, I'm thinking about, the captain and I are thinking about plans for next year. And of course we're concerned about fiscal planning. We've already mentioned doing the best we can with the budgets that we have. Accreditation process is ongoing, and we're interested in some career development opportunities for our folks. And I have this just in. Just wanted to pass along a compliment regarding SRO La Rochelle. After school crossing today, Kevin Welch, our middle school principal, told me that Eric was knocking it out of the park and that he was doing a great job. Felt that this was a compliment you should hear as well, and that's from Mary Gabrielli. So, thank you, everyone. And Merry Christmas.
Okay. So under commission items, our next meeting will be here Thursday, January 18th. We have a 4:15 PM start time. Just, typically it's 4 o'clock, but it will be 4:15. And spinning off that, I'd like to just get a quick vote if any discussion necessary about the 2024 meeting schedule. The only thing in question is the 3 dates that we would just start at 4:15, just to give us some time to change the room because there's people in here before us. Frankly, I have on my own. I have no problem starting at 4:15 rather than relocating to Town Hall and dealing with those acoustics. But Sean, do you have any issues with those?
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm good, yeah.
All right, so, but we're good with that. I don't think we need a formal vote, but we're, but thank you. If you just wanted to solidify those in the library, we're good.
There are some of them.
Okay, well, you didn't tell me,
They're
it's
on
just
the
a
books.
matter of like, you know,
This
housekeeping.
this is when it's gonna be. I just wanted to see them.
Thank you. Okay. And we appreciate that. And just one other thing, the chief mentioned, his items were shorter than normal because we met last week. We decided we'd meet with the chief monthly or every other month, depending on what we deem necessary or required. Just gives us an opportunity in a non-public session to sit down and talk about the state of the police department, the state of the world, just the general state of affairs. We can make sure that we're all in the right place, we're on the same page. He can bring forward any concerns or questions. We can do the same to him. And it worked out very well. It was a great meeting, and we look forward to moving forward in the future with more of them. Okay. We have Tom Bell from the Budget Committee with us. Tom, do you have any updates or?
Monday, the Budget Committee met. I was picking up younger son flying in from Denver, and given the weather, it was a bit of a challenge, so I didn't make the meeting, although I do know that the letter that was being composed to go to the Department of Revenue Administration was indeed agreed to, signed, and it's out, which basically set the parameters of what happened with the budget, and then going forward, what we are going to do to narrow the gap and come up with whatever shortfall we may have, which I guess ties into, Captain, what you were saying, is being as diligent as possible to see if we can, through all departments really, not have to spend, and that a lot of that will be weather related. But not having been to the meeting, that's where I'll stop and turn it over to the supervisors who probably were there.
So, first of all, I wanted to reiterate, thank you for the help with the Santa Parade and the tree lighting. It's always a great event. And for the repair on the town hall, the fire department, first time ever, I guess, they got to use their new ladder truck, which was really interesting. It was a good exercise for them, and it made it very accessible to fix the roof. And another contractor wanted $85,000 just to set up the scaffolding. So
I thought there was probably some.
yeah, so the help from the police and the fire department saved the taxpayers a whole bunch of money. And I wanted to thank the police department, fire department, all the town employees for the fantastic work they did during the storm. Everything was great. The budget is holding, and we thank you for supporting the town. Every department, just so you know, every department came in with a bare bones budget to us, and then the town manager and the board of selectmen still had to cut. We had to get it down to 9%. It was a must. Even that is really tight. I also wanted to thank the police department for attending the Christmas party this year, the holiday party at Bayside. It was nice to see the force there. And other than that, I think that's about all I have.
Come on.
You can say happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Woody. Okay. Anybody from the public like to offer anything, or, okay, well, we appreciate your always being here with us, so thank you for that. Okay. And do you gentlemen have any other business for public?
No, sir.
Okay, then at this time, I'll entertain a motion to enter under RSA 91-A:3 under personnel matters. And I will entertain a motion on that.
I'll make that motion.
And I will second that
Okay,
motion.
and we'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Coop?
Aye.
Okay, aye. And we will stand in recess while we clear the room.